This is Things Police See, First-Hand Accounts, with your host, Steve Gold.
Welcome to the podcast that interviews active and retired police officers about the most intense, bizarre, and sometimes humorous moments on the job. It is I, Old Gingerface, here with you as always. Thank you for joining me, everybody. Almost knocked my headphones right off. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all the rating and reviewing that's going on. Thank you for all the crossover viewership that's going on from the Sergeant Steve YouTube channel. I love to see it, and I love you guys, so thank you. And I will say right up top, if you do love the show and you've listened to all the episodes and enjoyed them, the link to the Patreon for support is in the show notes, and be great if you did that. If not, don't worry, the show will remain free so everybody can hear the men and women of law enforcement and what they actually have to go through on a daily basis to gain a better appreciation for what it is they actually do. And that's what we're doing here today. I'm excited to bring this guest on. I finally got another guy out of country, which is very cool. I love it when law enforcement from a different country rings me up and wants to come on the show. He's up in Canada. He's out west in Alberta. He's got a very interesting job there, and I can't wait to hear about the differences in policing and police culture and what exactly his responsibilities are. He's a community peace officer in the province of Alberta, Canada, as I said, since 2014. He started and did 2 years with municipal enforcement. Prior to that community peace officer position, and he was in animal services. Without further ado, let me bring on the great Brad Larsen. Brad, what's up, man?
Steve, thanks for having me.
My pleasure. I was so happy when you reached out. It ebbs and flows. There'll be months and months I don't get I gotta fix that. I don't get another country coming up. So thank you.
Sure, yeah, no problem. I'm excited to be here. Love talking about what we do and promoting what we do. So yeah, I'm excited to be here.
So obviously the U.S. and Canada have a lot of similarities in our policing. Sometimes when you watch like a body cam or something from Canada, I don't even know it's Canada until I like catch a patch or someone tells you, or you hear somebody say, what's this all about, or something like that. But there is as many similarities as there are. There is a lot of differences as well. So right. Can you tell us exactly about what a community peace officer is and how does it contrast from your run-of-the-mill police officer?
Sure. So it's a good question, and our position can be somewhat hard to explain. So we do a lot of the same things as police officers do. Our vehicles have red and blue lights. We do traffic enforcement. We wear body armor and uniforms just like the police. So in Canada, obviously, the most famous police service is the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, or the RCMP.
Oh, yeah.
So the province of Alberta contracts the RCMP to be the police of jurisdiction for most municipalities, with a few exceptions to the rules. Edmonton, Calgary, Lethbridge, they have their own police service.
Is that because Alberta is more rural, like has smaller towns in it?
Yeah, so there is a kind of a big shove right now, or big push from the Alberta government to go to a provincial police force. So much like a state agency or a state trooper agency. The best I could probably equate it to would be like the Alaska State Troopers, where they're doing general duties police work above and beyond just highway patrol, for example. So the Alberta government has a tiered policing model. And so the way that works is we have the RCMP, who are the police of jurisdiction. They are dealing with the criminal code occurrences that happen every single day, that go out, domestics, murders, all that stuff. And then the Alberta government introduced the Peace Officer Act, which is, again, that's that tiered policing model. So under that Peace Officer Act, that's where our game wardens fall under. We call them Alberta Fish and Wildlife Sheriffs. And then we have the Alberta Sheriff's Highway. Yeah, the Alberta Sheriff's Highway Patrol, Alberta Sheriffs for courts, Alberta Sheriffs for prisoner transport, things like that with relation to the remand centers. In that, they designed the Community Peace Officer Program. And what the Community Peace Officer Program is we are individuals that are hired by a specific municipality to do enhanced municipal law enforcement. So the best I can, again, equate it to the U.S. listeners is code enforcement. So we call it bylaw enforcement. So a municipality enacts bylaws, and then we would conduct that enforcement. But we also have provincial level authorities to deal with certain provincial acts. First and foremost, and probably the most common one you'll hear from community peace officers, is the Traffic Safety Act and all the regulations that come under that as well. So we do full traffic authority. And then some other little stuff like the Gaming, Liquor, Cannabis Act, which speaks to the control and regulation of gaming. So lottery services, BLTs or whatever that are in the bars, the little machines, casinos, which we don't touch that. So that's where, again, that Peace Officer Act and the way we get our authority is through an appointment from the province. And that appointment identifies exactly what authorities we have. It's not like the RCMP, which is just a blanket authority for every act and regulation enacted by the Government of Canada, Province of Alberta, and of course the municipal bylaws as well. We just have certain acts and regulations and in some cases, certain provisions of those acts and regulations. So for example, with the Gaming, Liquor, Cannabis Act, it's more around public intoxication, transporting within a vehicle. So again, while we're doing traffic, if we observe vehicles that are traveling with open containers or whatever that looks like, we can deal with that. Some other provincial stuff that's just kind of based on the municipal enforcement is animal enforcement. So the Animal Protection Act. So most of us, I can't speak to every municipality. I can speak to my agency, my department. We're also animal protection officers, so we can deal with the Animal Protection Act provincially, Trespass to Premises Act, things like that. So we're kind of all over the board.
Interesting. So say you're out doing your thing in traffic and you run across something that you're not really sworn to do or whatever, you come across a felony or whatever, I'm assuming there's some caveats in there for you to act on that and get the appropriate officer there, or you know what I mean? Like a felony in your presence or something. Like it's not like you can stand there in uniform and do nothing. Is there some way you can act?
Yeah, so it's a great question, Steve, and it's one that we've been asking for a lot of years. So the Peace Officer Program, the Community Peace Officer Program has been around since 2007, and I've been employed as a CPO in the province in several different municipalities since 2014. So the best example I can give to is impaired driving. So what in the United States would be a DUI or driving under the influence or whatever that looks like, DWI. We call it impaired driving. So historically, that's a criminal offense. It's an enactment of Canada under the Criminal Code of Canada. We don't have authority to deal with that. So,
really? But you're doing traffic.
Right. This is where it gets weird, Steve. So if I pull over a vehicle for speeding, for example, and I find I have reasonable grounds to believe that that person is impaired, I have to immediately disengage from the criminal investigation and contact the police of jurisdiction, which in my area is the RCMP. And if they can respond to come back me up, they can take over that investigation. If they can't respond, it becomes super weird and gray. So the Traffic Safety Act has a built-in 24-hour suspension. So that person's not getting any criminal charges and not getting any charges, but we're taking away their driver's license for 24 hours, which we have the authority to do. And again, it's not a punishment per se. It's just we're saying either you're impaired by alcohol or drugs, or you're too tired, or something is happening where we feel you're unsafe to operate that vehicle. So we're just saying, unfortunately, we're going to suspend your driver's license for 24 hours. Again, it doesn't accompany a charge.
That's interesting. Well, it doesn't seem like the best way to serve the public, kind of, for lack of a better term, handcuffing you guys that way. You know, I mean, you run into something and it's like, if you can't, I mean, I imagine the RCMP covers a lot of ground and could be tied up, kind of like our troopers. They might not show up. And then it's kind of like that weird gray area that you talked about. So strange. So for like motor vehicle, for motor vehicle and like animal investigations and all that, do you have the authority to make arrests on those things?
Yeah. So yes, there's a lot of provincial legislation has built-in powers of arrest without a warrant. So for example, the Traffic Safety Act, there's several different offenses that we have arrest authority for. So for example, if you fail to provide identification upon demand for a lawful reason, we can arrest you if we believe the information is incorrect or whatever that looks like, that kind of thing. public intox. So again, going back to that impaired driving example, I've heard, and I've never personally done this, but I have heard of other officers in larger metropolitan areas that may not be able to get the police of jurisdiction there. So the arrest is made under the Gaming Liquor Cannabis Act for public intoxication. And again, there's not generally a charge that comes with that. That's just the person going to a cell for 8 hours to sober up.
Like
and
protective
then that 24-hour
custody.
suspension. Correct. Yeah, correct. It's protective custody. So there is a charge for public intoxication. If we were able to release that person to somebody that can take care of them, we can give them a $115 violation ticket and send them on their merry way. But again, and I will say that it doesn't happen often. It's never happened once in my career where, and I've dealt with plenty of impaired drivers where I couldn't get RCMP assistance. Generally speaking, we are able to have that happen.
I'm liking the sounds of this, Brad.
Actually,
I'd love not to do OUIs anymore. Just, I got a guy's going to take care of this.
And it could be changing. So provincially, the legislation changed. I think it was 2020, heart of COVID. The legislation changed. So now there's a provincial administrative penalty for impaired driving. And so that provincial administrative penalty, so in Canada, we have MAS, which is called mandatory alcohol screening. So no matter, anytime you're stopped by the police or by a sheriff, a high patrol sheriff, or whatever that looks like, you have to provide a breath sample. So if you're pulled over for speeding, before they'll even tell you that you've been pulled over for speeding, they'll say, unfortunately, you have to blow under the mandatory alcohol screening legislation. So that's Canada-wide. So that assisted in developing new administrative penalties under the provincial legislation to have, instead of it being a criminal charge where you go to jail and there's incarceration and all that stuff, it's an administrative penalty that happens immediately roadside. And I think, and don't quote me on this because I don't actually enforce this legislation, but my understanding is after a certain number of those administrative penalties where the penalties increase each and every time, it automatically defaults to a criminal charge. So at that point, now you're looking at incarceration. So again, where I'm going back to this is that it's looking like the community peace officer program will likely be dealing with impaireds in the near future.
Oh, I'm sure the RCMP is like, let these guys do this stuff, please.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, they, you speak to members of the RCMP that are out on the road every day and they're saying, well, why aren't you doing this? Like I have full authority to write them a no insurance ticket and seize their vehicle and do all this stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But as soon as they're impaired, and where it came from, Steve. So one of the things I forgot to mention. So when I'm introducing who we are as peace officers, so the one main difference between peace officers and police officers is we're not armed. So we carry what I call karate in a can. So we carry OC spray and we carry a baton. So much like a CO or a correctional officer, we don't carry a firearm. So my understanding is the spirit of the policy in impaired driving came from a safety concern.
Still, though, I mean, if you look at the statistics of just motor vehicle stops, like you can't know who you're pulling over, man. I want you guys armed all day long.
Well, and yeah, the arming argument aside, I don't have a position on that one. I've never been armed, so I don't know a difference.
Right.
I don't know what's safer and what's not, so I'm not going to pretend that I do. What I've always made the argument about is, but I'm still stopping the vehicle. So I stop you for speeding and you're impaired. I've still stopped the vehicle and I'm still going to continue my provincial investigation. I'm not leaving because you're drunk or impaired on drugs. So like either I continue the impaired investigation or I sit back and wait for somebody else to come continue the impaired investigation.
Right.
That's kind of always been, I think that's where it got lost in that kind of translation of, well, if somebody else is doing it, but I'm still there, this level of risk still exists to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whether I have a gun or don't.
Is this you guys? Is this a good picture? Is it your uniform? Nice. Yeah, you guys like 100% look.
I don't know where that person's from, but
No, okay. I just Googled it. But yeah, it's like
yeah.
you got the overvest and all that. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like I have friends in England too that like I have a big old gun safe with all kinds of ARs in it and handguns and I always get asked like, well, what do you need all that for? I'm like, who said I need it? America, baby. We can have it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I grew up in America, and like to me, I grew up with a dad that was a cop, so he was always, he would come home for supper with the gun on his hip and the whole thing. It's a gun culture. So like you said, you never worked with one, so it's fine. And then I was always told never work without one. So it's like it's just two totally different mindsets. But yeah, I guess it would depend wholly on like the area you're in, and if you're getting peace officers, assaulted and attacked or killed, that would make a difference for sure. Over here in America, like almost anybody, like most people, and depending on the state especially, can have guns. Like they can just have guns. Mm-hmm. So it's like it's kind of like a no-brainer. Like, all right, no matter where you work in America as a cop, like you're going to run into guns, so you should have a gun. That's kind of the mindset. But
and don't get me wrong, we run into it all the time. So I work in a rural setting. I'm not sure what that or who that peace officer that you just showed worked for, but I work in a very rural setting. I deal with hunters all the time. I see them, pull them over, and there will be a long arm laying on the front driver's seat. I'm a hunter myself, so I own firearms. I utilize them. I'm proficient in the use of firearms. I have all my accreditation from the government of Canada. We just don't carry them at work. And I shouldn't say that, Steve. So we do have a shotgun in the vehicle, but that shotgun is policied into the ground. So that policy is that is for animals only.
You're breaking that bad boy out if your life depends on it, though.
Well, policy says no, Steve. I can't use it as a weapon of opportunity ever.
I'm not speaking for you. I know you follow policy. You do exactly the policy.
That's right.
Yeah, man. So for the training for this position, is it a similar academy, or is it like, does Canada do the college thing, or do they do is there like a 6-month paramilitary academy, or is it a little shorter? What's that like?
Sure. So, the RCMP have depot division in Regina where they go for 6 months. We don't. We have a provincial training academy here in Alberta. So the community peace officer program has its own academy class, the community peace officer induction program. So every community peace officer has to either have that training academy or one of equal equivalency, I guess. So if you're, for example, if you've graduated from RCMP depot division and were a Mountie for 6 years and you were like, well, I want to change of pace and I want to go work just day shift and not have to go to domestics anymore, you could come join the peace officer program and your training would be considered equivalent. So yeah, our base training is 10 weeks. And then that is just your very like base level stuff. And then once you come out of that training academy, we're all looked at as sausage links. We're all equal. And then from there, you can get your specialized training. So for example, to do traffic, there's other courses that you have to take above and beyond that you don't get at the academy.
Kind of like the military, you all get the basic and then you go to A school or whatever school you're going to go to.
Correct. So for me, for emergency vehicle operations, you have to go take that 1-week course. So we have 2 different training academies in Alberta. There's one in Edmonton and then one in a northern Alberta community. The northern Alberta community has gone that school has gone above and beyond, and they're offering a lot of those courses as a part of the induction program. So more and more peace officers are now coming out of that academy prepared to go out on the road and ready to go. And then after that, we have the 26-week field coaching program. And that I can, again, speak to my department. My department has a 26-week field coaching program.
Oh, that's pretty extensive, 26 weeks.
Yep.
And how long are you on probation for?
That's going to be employer-based. So I'm on probation just as long as the public works employees. So I believe ours is 90 days, 30 days, or 3 months, excuse me. I believe. Oh, I'd have to go back and look.
That's not too bad. It's like a year is like standard here.
Yeah.
Can your ass.
Now, and that's the thing. So when you get hired by the municipality, they then apply for your appointment. So they have to prove all of those things that you have to get your appointment from the province. So that could be a waiting period of 3 months. And if during the background checks and all that stuff that happens during that appointment process, they come back and say, sorry, this person is ineligible to be a community peace officer, i.e. whatever, there was a failure in some kind of background check, the municipality will just let you go because you don't meet the qualifications to be employed for that position.
All right.
So that could be a year.
Yeah, that makes sense. That same here, like your background kind of stays open for the first year, and then if anything pops up, or that one reference that never got back to him, and then it's like, oh, this guy's banging chickens out in the countryside. It's like, well, gotta let him go.
Yeah.
Sorry, bud.
I seen him with Velcro gloves one time. So,
all right, Brad, can you tell us about the first time you responded to a hot call or call that like gave you like a little bit of an adrenaline dump as a young officer?
Sure. So we kind of talking off camera there. We were talking. My stories might not be as Gucci as others, but it's funny. I was thinking about this, and then I got to thinking, like, what was the first time my heart pounded? And I think probably anybody in this career can agree that the first time you turn those lights on, and the first time that you pull over a vehicle and you're walking up to the driver's side, not knowing what to expect, your heart's going. And so I wouldn't call that an adrenaline dump, because I've certainly been involved in other incidents which were holy crap moments. But thinking back, I can specifically remember the very first traffic stop I did. It was a stop sign offense, and my sergeant was sitting in the passenger seat and pulled the vehicle over. He was kind of giving me trouble because I didn't beat my siren as I was going through the intersection to clear the intersection. And I panicked and I turned my lights off as soon as I parked the car in behind the vehicle. And he's like, what are you doing? Turn your lights back on. And so thinking back to that, I can remember that specifically. And I don't remember who I dealt with or what the driver said or if I wrote a ticket or not. But I can tell you that my heart was pounding. And I was like, holy, I'm doing this. Okay, it's happening. This is the first time. And I mean, I was 22 years old. So it was, or 23 years old. So it was, it was eye-opening. And then you get into other things where the first time you're driving lights and sirens to a call. So we have full emergency response for collisions. So policy-wise, we can only drive lights and sirens to injury collisions where there's known injuries or reasonable grounds to believe there's injuries.
Right.
So the first time that you're running code to that collision scene where there's injuries, and usually dispatch is giving you the update that things are not looking good on scene. And as peace officers, we're out on the road a lot. So usually we're first on scene. So, I remember the first time going to that scene alone, or the first fatality that I went to alone, getting up on scene and going, what now? And the heart pounding. So it may not necessarily be the story of holy crap, I might die here, or I'm getting shot at or something like that. It's more of the day-to-day operations that really you think back and go, yeah, well, that was the first time that I was like, holy crap, this is happening.
No, I'm with you, man, especially because you go through all the training and they tell you about how dangerous this is and what could happen to you. And then you're like, of course, my first stop, it will definitely be the guy with the sawed-off shotgun. You know what I mean? Or something.
Yeah.
So then you pull them over and then you get to the window and the person's like, oh yeah, here's my paperwork. And you're like, whew, all right, I'm doing it. Like you said, this isn't so bad.
And I started in a time where you had to hand bomb tickets. It's all e-ticketing now through the computer. But I remember putting pen to paper the first couple of times and the hand's just vibrating as you're trying to write out a nice, neat ticket. But, it's funny that you say that in training. So I had a training sergeant that always used to say, and I'm trying to remember how he said, I think he said, the wolf is coming. The wolf is coming one day and he's going to get you. And so that's all going in the back of your head, right? Like, and I mean, to me, that was kind of silly and funny, but the thought was there, and that, there might be somebody that's trying to hurt me one day, but so don't be complacent and do your things properly and pay attention. But the first couple of times doing traffic stops, and then the first couple of times that you do a traffic stop on a highway where the speed limit is 110, for example, 110 kilometers per hour, not miles per hour,
Right.
Which is that 75, 80, somewhere in there, miles per hour?
You're asking like probably,
it doesn't matter.
You're asking the dumbest guy in Massachusetts.
I don't think it matters, but and that first time that Cataliner or that big truck goes by you and sucks you kind of backwards as you're not quite paying attention, that'll get your heart going too. That's that quick reminder, pay attention to what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And dude, how much better did you feel when you didn't have a stupid training officer with you? There's nothing worse than someone breathing down your neck the whole time. I mean, because you're already new, so you already feel like you're going to, then every single thing you do, you're like, he's watching this. He's watching me. And then inevitably you do screw up a lot because you're new and it's like, oh my gosh, it sucks.
You know, Steve, I got kind of lucky. So my field coach is to this day my best friend, big Newfie guy. So he's got that thick Newfie accent. He's actually,
Nice.
He works out in Newfoundland now as a police officer. But he was my field coach and he was real good to me in that there was never I never felt stupid. I always, when I made a mistake, he made it clear that I could do better. And so, yeah, I got pretty lucky. I had a very good field coach, and
that's important.
So,
yeah.
But you're right in that the first couple of times when you're standing up there at the car, don't make a mistake. Don't say something stupid because you're never going to hear the end of it.
Yep. It's kind of like going to court for the first time when you're like, well, I don't know what to expect. What's going to happen? And your heart's in your throat. And then afterwards you're like, oh, it wasn't so bad. But it's like high stress talking to a judge or a magistrate. It's like,
Yeah, that's another great example of feeling your heart beat out of your chest the first time you're standing up on that witness stand. Please don't perjure me. There's no way they're going to perjure you. You got your notes in front of you. You shouldn't, there's no way that should ever happen. But you think of those things, your heart's pounding and you don't want to look like an idiot up there. And so, yeah, those are my examples. Those are, yeah.
Yeah. My dad was a cop for 32 years and he got involved the end of his career. Of course, he got involved in this, custodial kidnapping case. Parent took the child across state lines. It went to federal court and the federal court judge, was losing his mind. Literally. He was 89. Like other judges were actively trying to convince him to step down. And it was bad, dude. Good thing it wasn't my dad's first day. Cause he would get up, he would say things in the morning, like, all the officers involved in this case are in peril of spending tonight and many nights in prison. And he'd slam down his hand and they were like, it was so bad. My dad said he got to know the clerk up there and the clerk for the federal court would call him in the morning and be like, hey, I'm not coming in today. He's in a bad way or some part of the story like that. I'm sure I'm misremembering.
Cancel the trials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So bad. So terrible that the lady officer that was involved in the case with my dad was crying at the end of the day at court, cause she thought they might go to jail. Like totally nuts. Anyways, that's a side story. I'm sure I mentioned that before in the podcast and someone will write to me and be like, Steve, we already heard that story. Sorry. I'd throw it in there. It's been a while since I said that. Brad, can you tell us about like a really strange or bizarre thing you've dealt with being a peace officer?
Yeah, so it's funny because we deal with a lot of the peace officers. I often refer to our program as the fix-it or the solution of a municipal government when they can't find an answer to something. So
a lot of different hats.
Bylaws, that's right. And bylaws can be so... I mean, you can have bylaws that were written in 89 that are still trying to be enforced today. So I have responded to and had to deal with investigations. I can give you an example at a previous post of mine. I was brand new. I had just gotten there and I had just been promoted as sergeant. And I was like, oh, I'll take calls. And I was alone for the day. So I was taking calls and I took a call for a neighbor dispute. And the dispute was that the neighbor's Christmas lights were too bright. So the one neighbor couldn't look out and view the stars as much as they wanted to.
Solid.
And like reading the call notes, I was in disbelief. Like, I was like, is this something that you're seriously? And I get it. We're bylaw. Like, people still refer to us as the guys that are driving around the white minivan with the orange rotator on the roof, wearing jeans and a little ID badge. So I get it that, this is how people still view our program, but I couldn't believe that somebody would call law enforcement to complain about their neighbor's Christmas lights. I was just mind boggled. And that's one example of many weird calls for service that we get. And the RCMP get them in those communities, the small communities as well, because this is the police of jurisdiction, and people think that their neighbor's Christmas lights are just as important as the whatever big file that the RCMP are dealing with, whatever big domestic or
Right.
something that's going on. So,
I get those too, man. I got called the other day for an older guy. Said there was a boulder had rolled into his driveway and was blocking his car. And I'm like, a boulder?
Yeah.
It's like, it's just a big, huge chunk of snow that's all covered in dirt. So it looked like a boulder. I just smashed it up with my foot. And
like the base of a snowman.
Yeah. I just smashed it up and kicked it to the side. Wow. He's like, oh, you lifted that rock up? I'm like, no, I broke it up with my foot. I'm like, it was a piece of snow. He's like, oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's one of the stranger calls that I ever got was so where I was working, if anybody's ever familiar with a mountain lion. So we have mountain lions in Alberta, but they're mountain dwelling animals. Like, they're in the Rockies,
sure,
a little ways away. It's not unheard of to have them come out into the agricultural lands, or the prairie, as we kind of say. But where I was, it was like deep prairie. There's no way there's mountain lions. And I remember I got a call from the school that there was a mountain lion walking through the playground. So, of course, we attended right away, dealing with animals.
Get that shotgun out, baby.
Yeah, like at that time we didn't have shotguns. We were armed with pepper spray and a catch pole. And
you're a brave man.
Well, just go there and assess, and then figure out what
before you get out. Yeah,
that's right. And dude, the biggest, fattest, grayest house cat, Tabby, was sitting on the playground equipment, Steve. And like, again, you're kind of amped up, thinking, oh, there's a cougar on the gym equipment, like on the playground
killing
equipment.
machine.
And you get there, yeah, like this thing's taking out kindergartners, dude. And yeah, no, it was a big gray tabby cat. So the weird things like that, where awesome. You sit back and you go, like, I'd love to write a book one day of the calls that I've gone to that just make you go, what? Like, you thought that was a 200-pound mountain lion?
Yeah, I get it. One time I saw a mouse run across the sill in my basement when I was putting stuff in my dryer. And I just looked up and I was like, I went upstairs. I'm like, we have a rat in our house. It's friggin' huge. It's a rat. And then my wife was kind of like, well, maybe just because it's dark and it scared you, it looked bigger. I'm like, no, I saw what I saw. I was not scared. And then, I caught it. It was a tiny mouse.
And we get calls about rats all the time. And Alberta has been rat free since 1953. So we don't have Norway rats in Alberta.
Wow. Yeah, don't jinx it, man.
Well, they have, there's Alberta Rat Patrol and all this stuff that they have going on. Okay. And I know that there's rats sometimes on the Saskatchewan border. They don't come in on the BC border because of the mountains, but we don't, we eradicated them and we maintain that. Norway rats are prohibited animals, man. You'd be a jail time for harboring those little suckers. Like, it's it's an important thing here in Alberta, apparently.
Wow. Yeah. Once they get going, rats are nasty, dude. They get like the size of a watermelon in New York City. They ride the subway, brother. Freaking nasty. Brad, can you tell us about like a very intense or possibly terrifying call you dealt with?
Sure. So this is where I really had to think. And my beautiful fiance reminded me of this thing that I try to block out. But it's kind of a long story. Working in a Northeast community, it was a city. I think it's 12,500 roughly, where I worked. So there was two of us on shift. We at that time we had direct communication through radios with the RCMP, and the RCMP had gotten, one of the members had stopped a stolen car that was occupied. And I don't exactly know what happened, but somehow the driver and the passenger, front seat passenger, were able to foot bail and took off on them. So they had asked us, because there was 3 or 4 members working of RCMP, to come and assist with just the perimeter. So again, we don't have the authority to arrest or whatever, but we can be eyes and ears. We have direct communication. We can assist with traffic management or whatever that looks like. So we had gone and we had gotten the description for these 2 individuals, and we never found them. Nobody ever found them. They had simply vanished into thin air. Later that night, the junior A hockey team was playing a game at our local community center, which was a big center, modern center. And I took a call with my partner for 2 individuals soliciting sunglasses. So soliciting inside of the city-owned property, we could go deal with that, remove them for trespassing or whatever. We figured it was going to be something silly. So we had said, let's go watch the game. We'll kick these guys out or whatever needs to be done, and then we'll go watch the game. And we had talked to the RCMP and said, hey, do you guys want to come watch the game? So we all made this agreement. Yeah, let's go. Well, in the meantime, my partner and I arrived. We park at the front doors, totally like cops do, right at the front entranceway. And it was kind of a long pathway coming down. And I was on the phone with the complainant. And she's like, they're walking out right now, Brad. They're right in front of you. And I was like, oh, okay, it sounds good. So I jump out of my truck and immediately I'm like, these are the 2 dudes. Like, these are the 2 dudes that took off from the stolen car earlier. They're super recognizable, like bright green mohawk.
Oh, wow.
Turd hawk or whatever.
Punk rockers.
Yeah, they were something, Steve. I don't know if I'd call them that. But anyways, they were actively talking to these other 2 individuals that were young dudes just hanging out or whatever. And so I walked up, and the radio system wasn't the greatest. So I had already gotten out of the car, and our portables weren't as powerful. So I had to literally hold my portable above my head for me to get service.
Oh.
And I'm trying to get out on the radio to tell the coming RCMP that, hey, I got our 2 guys. And as soon as I took a portable out and these 2 dudes knew what was going on, the fight was on. So the 2 guys kind of jumped me. My partner in this time was still in his car radioing into dispatch that we were on scene. He had no idea that these are the 2 guys. He hasn't really even seen them because he was parked in front of me.
Oh.
So these 2 guys, now when the fight is on, I'm trying to fight kind of 2 guys at the same time. And they push past me. In the meantime, I got my portable in my hand and I'm kind of screaming on the portable for the RCMP member, get here now. I got these guys. And there was a small skinny guy and there was a bigger, chunkier dude. So they take off to run, and I'm like, well, I'm going to take the bigger guy because I can catch him.
Right.
So sidebar, I can arrest for assault on a peace officer for me. So if you assault me, I can arrest criminally for me.
Makes sense.
So these guys have now assaulted me. They're arrestable for assault PO. So I kind of take off after the guy. I look back, and the skinny guy is getting in the driver's seat of my truck.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, oh, no. So disengage from the bigger guy, and I run back around the front of my truck. And the way that our vehicles work, we just carried 2 sets of keys. So one set of keys in the ignition, and the other set's on my belt. And I remember thinking, he can't get it in gear if he can't get his foot on the brake. So I'm standing on I was driving a pickup, Dodge pickup. I'm standing on the bar or whatever to get in the truck, and I was kicking at his feet and saying, no, don't, stop, you're under arrest. Meantime, big guy comes around the passenger side, opens the passenger door, grabs my duty bag and chucks it at me.
Where's your partner, brother? Still in his car?
Still sitting in the car. He has no idea what's going on. He's kind of like, what the guy now? And Steve, this is happening probably over a period of 10 seconds.
Right.
We're talking, this is quick, right? This is happening fast. That whole interaction, when we watch it back on the CCTV from the center we were at, it was like 28 seconds or something.
Right. And obviously he wasn't expecting this, so he's probably doesn't have eyes on you.
Yeah. Yeah. He doesn't know. And he doesn't know that the bad guys were coming out the front door because I was the only one on the phone with the complainant. So he was just getting ready to go in and watch hockey. So he was rating our dispatchers, telling them that we were.
He's all pumped for the game.
10. Yeah. Like we're 10-7. We're out of service. Don't bug us. We're going to watch hockey.
Right.
And, moral of the story is the guy that was in the driver's seat got my truck and drive probably long before I was kicking at his feet. So now I'm punching him, doing whatever I can, thinking like, do I go to my OC spray? And before I knew it, we were moving.
Oh my god!
So now I'm hanging onto the holy shit bar in the driver's seat and trying to grab him. And like I remember my boots dragging down the snowy roadway, and this place is one way in, one way out. So I'm like, please don't crash my new truck.
Oh.
Like that was all this goes. And then eventually, and at this point, we've gone by my partner. So my partner now realizes, holy crap, what's going on? And at that point, I let go and I did the old tuck and roll and had a yard sale of all my duty belt across the snowy pavement, and they took off.
Damn.
And my partner, so peace officers, we have an absolutely zero pursuit policy. Like 0, 0, 0. If you get into anything that's even reasonably close to a pursuit, you're done. Your career's over. So he took off to follow him. And I got on my radio screaming right away. And my partner's name was Mike. I'm like, Mike, no pursuit. Don't pursue. Don't pursue. And I'm switching between channels on my portable to get to the RCMP. In the meantime, I get on with the RCMP and he's coming. I can see his truck. And I'm like, hey, they just stole my truck. They're going out the main entrance. And he is trying to walk on me going, Brad, you're running me off the road. Well, he thinks I'm still driving the big truck that says peace officer down the side with the lights and sirens, right? He thinks I'm driving. I'm like, no, Charles, homie, they're driving my peace officer truck. And I think I even said on the air, the one that says effing peace officer down the side is the one they stole. And anyways, they take off, they pursued it. Mike came back and helped me, kind of doctored me up. And in the moment, and then I felt so bad for these poor other dudes. I thought they were with them. So we kind of assumed they were all together. Well, the other two guys, when this was all happening, took off and jumped on the city bus, which didn't move because they had saw everything that happened. So we ran up, we put them in handcuffs, and we're like, you're implicated in this because of all of this. Like your buddies just tried to kill. We're like, oh, we're not with them. They were trying to sell us sunglasses. Okay. So we figured all that out after the fact. But in the moment I was like, you don't realize how bad it is until you start picking up batons and handcuffs and stuff that you didn't realize were no longer on your belt. So anyways, it was, that was probably the most intense thing that I've had happen. Obviously I've been to several intense, MVCs. So I work in Southern Alberta. We had a pretty bad one over the last 2 weeks ago, down here that I was a part of. That was just as intense, but in a very different way.
Yeah. It's very bad crashes and fatals are, they leave a lasting impression in your mind. I mean, just seeing for me anyways, I'm seeing the human body in very unnatural positions and conditions is, no bueno. I'm not a fan.
No.
Yeah, it's bad.
Me neither.
Yeah, especially when it's like, a lot of times younger people are always the ones that are speeding and screwing around, and or someone gets smoked and it wasn't their fault. It was the other person's fault and the other person is drunk, that type of thing. It's like, it always seems like, it's like, damn, this is screwed up, man. Brad, can you tell us about a heartwarming or positive encounter?
Yeah, this is the one that I've been racking my brain for. Steve, I probably had a good example of one, and now I can't. I'm drawing up one.
It happens, especially with this question for some reason. It's
there's been so many, and it's, you hear so many people now, and I've been doing my job now since 2014, just over 10 years or whatever that is, 12 years. You get jaded and you're like, you get that young guy that's like, oh, I want to be a cop, or I want to do I want to be a peace officer, whatever that looks like. And you're like, don't do it. And then you look back and you think, doing elementary school presentations and stuff where they idolize, they don't care about what call you were just at. They don't care what crazy pants said to you on the side of the highway. They think you're cool. And it's like,
yeah,
because you get to wear a uniform and drive a police car. And I think back to when I've always wanted to be in law enforcement. That was my goal since I was 2. I was there. I remember RCMP coming in, do a dare or whatever when I was in elementary school. And
sure,
thinking, I just idolize those guys because they choose to put on a uniform every day. In the moment, and at that age, you don't know that. But now I look at that and I go, okay, how can I promote that to the younger generation to go, we're not bad guys. We're not out to ruin people's days or ruin people's lives. That's not what we're here to do. We just want to keep our community safe, and operating properly. So, and sometimes there's decisions that have consequences. And so, I can think back. So I did a school presentation about a year ago, and it was like grade 6 students, I think. And one of the kids just came up and, hey, just wanted to say thank you for what I do. And I was like, as a grade 6 student to come up and tell the peace officer, thank you for what you do. That feels awful good, especially when there's firefighters in the room. Right. So,
yeah, wow. That's high praise if there's firefighters around.
That's right.
Those are the good guys.
That's right. And we work so close with our fire service. I poke fun, but they're our brothers and sisters. So, yeah, things like that have happened over the career. I mean, and obviously, on top of that, we do animal services. So, some of the coolest stuff is dealing with the Animal Protection Act. I remember, I was investigating a complaint about a gentleman who wasn't quite taking care of his dog properly. And dude wound up and kicked the dog right in front of me.
Ooh.
And like, you see red, and you think about it, and you're like, oh, I tackle that guy to the ground. And in the moment, I was like, what? Like,
yeah, shocking.
Huh? Yeah. So, and that was a good one where I seized the dog, charged him up, and he was convicted of everything. Never allowed to own dogs again. I feel great about that.
Yeah.
Like I feel great that a defenseless animal will never have to be around that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, so
they take it pretty serious. Like down here, most places it's a felony animal cruelty. Is it the same up there?
Yeah. So we don't have felonies up here. We don't have felonies and misdemeanors. So we have criminal offenses under the Criminal Code of Canada, which is nationwide. There is an animal cruelty to animal or whatever charge under that specific piece of legislation that comes with incarceration and all that stuff. And then we have a provincial legislation, so which would be considered a summary conviction offense. So there's either a specified penalty or it could be up to a certain amount of time incarceration. And he was charged with that summary conviction under the provincial legislation. And so I just wrote a summons and said, there's no specified penalty to this. You're going to go answer to this, and you're going to go speak to a judge or a justice. And that's what happened. Don't think it went to trial because I didn't have to give evidence on it. So he must have pled guilty or whatever, and he was imposed a whatever sentence that he got. And then part of that was we were notified that this individual shall never own animals again. Lifetime prohibition. So
yeah, good.
W.
Yeah. Absolutely. Where you work in your the town you're in now or city is do you guys have like your own police station you report to, or do you work out of a RCMP barracks or station, or how's it work?
Here, good question. So I work for a county. So I work for a rural. It's actually an MD, a municipal district. So similar to like a county sheriff. So the RCMP have their own detachment, and actually there's 5 RCMP detachments in my area. So we cover a substantial chunk of ground in southern Alberta. We have our own office, and it's attached to the county office, the MD office. So we have our own little area, and that's shared with fire. So there's 3 full-time firefighters out of there as well, the chief, deputy, and 2 deputy chiefs. And we all share that kind of area. I mean, we have our own little bullpen and office area, but yeah. And some departments in Alberta do work out of the RCMP detachments, which would be like your police station. We just, for whatever reason, like to use our own terminology. So the detachments can house peace officers. There's some, you get into like the bigger communities, cities and towns where they're tri-service buildings. So they'll have police, fire, ambulance, and peace officers, everybody out of that detachment.
That sounds fun. Sounds like a good place to have a cookout, you know?
Oh yeah. So
when you arrest somebody, you take them, do you guys have holding cells and booking, or do you use RCMP?
Yeah. Two different kind of things here. So we have a memorandum of understanding with the RCMP for certain things. One of those is lodging in cells, but we also have the option so a lot of our stuff can be, if we're making an arrest, we can pretty well release roadside on paper for just about everything.
It's like a complaint, kind of like what we would call it.
Yeah.
Criminal complaint.
Yep. So yeah, we call it notice to appear. Just basically saying you have to go to court and answer to this. If it's, for example, that assault PO, likelihood, I mean, I'm working alone or there's one other CPO working with me. So the likelihood is I'm calling the RCMP to me. And at that point, I'm just going to be like, here, take this person. There's other times where we will transport on behalf of the RCMP. So the RCMP have arrested for whatever thing. And they're like, they just shove them in our car because it's the closest one with a cage. In that case, we'd be transporting back to the RCMP. The public intox one where, like, for example, that I can't remember what you called it, but like the safety hold.
Oh, protective custody. Yeah.
Yeah. Protective custody. If we are arrested for that and we're going to lodge for that 8 hours or until sober, we would just take to whatever detachment is closest to us, or we can use the provincial remand centers. So we have an MOU because we're peace officers with the province of Alberta. We can go right to the provincial remand center, which is like Calgary Correctional Center, Edmonton, Lethbridge, Red Deer. There's those centers all over the place.
All right. So we kind of do similar stuff here. Like I work for a rural place and we have a booking room and all that, but we have no cells. So when we arrest somebody, if they're not going to be released or don't get bail, then we have taken to the county lockup, which is, another half an hour away. So it's like you said, if you're working on alone or with skeleton crews, I try to, unless it's a shall arrest situation or very serious, I try to do paper, just a complaint, cause they're still going to go stand in front of a judge. They're going to have criminal charges. But it doesn't involve, taking somebody off the road for like 3 or 4 hours to deal with this disaster.
Right. And like going back to, so like the most of the stuff that we're arresting for is a provincial level offense. It's a summary conviction offense. If I'm arresting on warrants, it's for warrant that I have authority to deal with. So if I say pulled over an individual, and they have a murder warrant, I'm not dealing with that anyways. I don't have authority to. So I'm going to say, here's your speeding ticket, drive safe, and send them on their merry way. Or I'm going to run back to my car and be like, hey, I got this turd and you guys should probably get down here to arrest him.
Right.
It's the stuff that we're arresting for is, generally speaking, you're not going to lodge. The only time that there would be something that is for that is we get like pay or stay warrant. So I'm not sure if you guys have those, but it's where they owe, say, a certain fine amount, and the government or the court has said you have to pay it or you will be incarcerated for X amount of time. And we'll arrest for that and say, hey, do you have your $2,000 that you owe on this traffic fine? And if so, can you pay through the online portal? Nope. Okay, now I got to take you to jail. So we'll go to whatever detachment's closest or the remand center. For that, I'd probably go to remand center because that's probably going to be 20 days.
Oof, brutal. Yeah, they do. I mean, warrants are issued for like failure to appear, or even not paying like tickets or parking tickets I've seen before, but we don't have anything to do with the payment of it. We just put them in front of a judge and then they work something out.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, out here, it's super rural. So, like my community, there's 3 towns in it that doesn't even have a courthouse. We don't have a courthouse that's however distance, and they're open Monday to Friday, 8 to 4, closed at noon for lunch. So, yeah, we could. The beauty part now is the Alberta government has that online payment portal. Excuse me. So I'm not handling cash. I remember back in the day where we would get our own traffic warrants and we would go to their house and say, "Hey, you have to pay us for no insurance ticket in Alberta. It's $3,100 or 31 days imprisonment."
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah. We take it seriously here. So we seize the car and we write that. And if you're convicted, it's a $3,100 specified penalty or 31 days imprisonment. So we get warrants for it all the time, especially payer stay warrants. And I'll show up at your house and be like, "You have $3,100? Nope. Okay, well then you got to come with me." And if they say, "Yeah, I'll put it on my credit card," then I can say, "Okay, log into this website." Historically, they'd be like, "Yeah, can you drive me to the bank?" And we would literally drive them to the bank. They'd pull out the cash. We'd write them a receipt and say, "Okay," and then go and hand that in. I mean, there's a ton of paperwork that goes with that, I'm sure you can imagine. But and it was funny because I thought that was bad. And then so really quick, a funny story. I got pulled over in Montana. So I only live about 45 minutes north of the Montana border, the US border. And we were down to go to Great Falls one time. Anyways, got pulled over and I got a speeding ticket, and he made me pay roadside with the old like thunk machine with my credit card. Oh yeah. $21. He was like, "Either you can pay me now or I got to take you to jail. See a judge on Monday because you're not from here. So you're a flight risk if I write you the ticket." And I'm like, "What do you need?" Like,
please.
Like, "What do you need from me? I'll whatever
$1,000 or whatever.
Debit card." Yeah. Like, I'm not going to jail. So, yeah, just a funny story on that one. I couldn't believe he comes back up to the car and he's got that thunk with the carbon paper or whatever from back in the day. I mean, this is going back 15 years ago. So
still though, 15 years. I mean,
but still, yeah.
Last time I saw those things was like the 90s.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We haven't had them up here in a long time. We got the portable debit machines. No, I'm just joking. But
that's wild. That's wild. Brad, so popular question here with the listeners. A lot of them listen to you guys tell your stories, talk about being a cop, and they end up pulling the trigger. I should change that. That's stupid. Pulling the trigger. They decide to become a police officer from hearing your story. So what advice would you give to people looking into getting into the profession?
Yeah, so I'm going to speak to our program because I have you've provided me the platform and I appreciate it. So I'm going to promote the crap out of our program.
Yeah, please do.
We need more people. The Peace Officer program is a great tool if you want to advance your career into a police service, like the RCMP or whatever that looks like. We're a great tool. Keep in mind that once you get here, it's also a great career. I got into it as a stepping stone. I got into it as I want to become an RCMP member. That's what I wanted to do. And here I am 12 years later and realized that this was a career path, and it's been great. It's treated me awesome. I don't have to be out on the road at 2 a.m. chasing the radio. I'm at home comfortably in bed by 9:30, unless
not to be said for that.
The world is ending. That's right. So, and we're paid pretty equally. We have a good rate of pay. We're treated awesome, and you get exceptional trainings, a lot of the same training that you would receive as a police officer. So I'm a use of force instructor, and I teach the exact same use of force that they teach in the United States and Canada through the PPCT system. So, like you're going to get those same levels of training and you're going to enjoy it. The only thing is you don't have a hunk of steel in your hip. So, yeah, it's something to consider, and I absolutely promote it. The other thing I will say, and this is my general advice to anybody that I talk to now, is don't try to do it at 18 years old. In Canada, you have to be 18 to be a police officer. Don't go live life. Go if you want to go to school for post-secondary for law enforcement, do it. And then for the next 2 years after that, go and have fun, enjoy your life, travel, and work a job where you aren't constantly under stress. Because when you start your career, that's what's going to happen. It comes with the territory. So enjoy those. Now, obviously, don't enjoy them too much. The fine line
within the law.
Yeah, within the law, but enjoy some time before you start your career. I was talking to an RCMP member the other day, and he made the comment that he wished every single police officer that came out of depot had 3 years of being a community peace officer first, because we have to learn very quickly to use our verbal judo skills.
Sure. Super important.
Hugely important. And get yourself out of situations and rely on calling for help. You get those members that come out and think that they're Iron Man and don't call for help when they probably should have, or maybe should have. So we have to rely on that, and then it becomes second nature to us. We call for help and we don't think about it. So little things like that, think about those things as you're going into it. It's a great career. Policing is a fantastic career in Canada. Yeah.
All right. Words of wisdom, man. Sounds like a great program. Absolutely. And I like the idea of not working overnights and being in bed at the right times.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great.
You can get there as a cop.
With all of them.
Right. Yeah. You're still in the blue ocean swimming around. It's very cool, man. I thought this conversation was so fascinating, hearing about that program and just the differences. Very cool. I think we had an English police officer on, oh my gosh, 5 years ago, I think, but he wasn't a constable. He might have even been called a peace officer. I don't remember, but it was like a support type thing where he had separate duties that were police work, but they weren't a bobby, like type of deal. Yeah. And that was fascinating to hear about too. And it's really interesting how Canada and the UK share a lot of structural things that way with how they set up.
And keep in mind, we are still part of that Commonwealth, right? So at the end of the day, everything that I wear has the King's crown on it. We are still a part of that Commonwealth, so that the similarities are drawn there. All the RCMP members are not known as officers; they're constables. Those are all constables, and then corporal, sergeant, blah 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 in the ranking system. But with us, we aren't constables. We are peace officers. There's a very distinct policy that says you shall not call yourself constable. You shall be known as peace officer. And like, I carry the rank of inspector, which is
I love all those ranks. Position. I love all those ranks. It's so cool. I think peace officer is a badass term. I like that. That's like, it reminds me of the Old West here, peace officer.
Yep.
And we have constables in Massachusetts, believe it or not. We have town constables and county constables. They do civil process. And I think the town constable gets voted in, and they do they're kind of tasked with keeping the peace at town meeting or something, or they have certain authority, but it's super colonial. So it's usually somebody in the town who was in law enforcement or is very well known and well respected. And then they basically just call us to do the stuff because they're 75.
Sounds like us.
Well, no, they don't deal with anything close to what you're dealing with. Brother, Brad, thank you so much for coming on, brother. It was an honor to have you. Were you going to say something there? I cut you off.
No, I was just going to say, I'm not super familiar with the East. I know there's even vast differences in your policing style in the United States from out West, which I would consider California, Nevada, and Utah, to out East. I'm not even, it's funny because I did a ride along. I always like to learn, and I always want to see what other agencies do and progress myself. And so I did a ride along with Las Vegas Metro.
Oh, it must have been wild.
A while back. That was something. And it was funny because they knew what I did, and I had to show my badge and I had to show my credentials and so on and so forth. And the first question the cop asked me that I rode with that day was, "What are you packing?" And I was like, "Packing what? Like a lunch?"
Right.
And he's like, "No, I'm like, do you have a gun?" And I'm like, "No, dude, I'm from Canada." Like,
A different country, man.
no. The worst part of this whole thing was I was there like not even a week after the Vegas shooting.
Oh,
So
wow.
like there was no border travel with firearms. Like there was not a chance. So he asked me, "Do you have a gun?" And I'm like, no, I'm Canadian. And then he's like, "Oh, well, you brought body armor, right?" I was like, "No, man. Like I flew here, Air Canada, bro. Like, no."
Yeah.
And so it was funny. And like that one was a wild ride. Like it was a great experience to see how they do things there. I did a ride along with Anaheim Police Department as well.
That's another busy department.
LAPD. Yeah. Well, and so sidebar to me, my dream has always been.
Uh-oh. You froze at 106.11. See if you come back. Gonna have to call back in. And we're back.
Sorry, it's that Canadian internet, man.
It looks windy looking out your window there. The tree's blowing like nuts.
Yeah, in Southern Alberta, we are renowned for our wind. We have a lot of wind.
Yep.
Anyways, what I was saying was my dream was I've always idolized the LAPD. I thought that the LAPD has nice looking uniforms. They're always squared away.
Yeah, they're squared away.
Those guys are like, and you watch their videos on YouTube and stuff like that. Like watching them work is incredible to me. I think that they're just such a squared away department still to this day. And I'd move to California and get rid of the winter in a heartbeat to go work for the LAPD. But so when I went down there, I wanted to do a ride along with LAPD and I couldn't work out, but I got to ride along with Anaheim, which Southern California Police Department, great squared away department. So great experience. Not as busy as Vegas, but I think the officer that I was riding with that day wasn't in the mood to work. If I was a betting man.
Yeah. Was he maybe a senior patrolman or something?
Yeah, he had quite a few years of experience. I got to see where Gwen Stefani grew up.
Nice. Took in a little tour of the stars.
Which was cool, I guess.
Yeah.
He showed me on the I-5 where OJ was in a high-speed chase. And I was like, dude, take me and show me some work. Like, I want to go right. Like, let's go. I'll write your report for you. I don't care, man. Like, let's go. So, yeah. Anyways, it was good. Good experiences.
Yeah, that's very cool, man. Well, like I said, honor to have you, dude. Thank you so much for coming on. So cool we can connect like this. You're in Canada, I'm in the States, and it's like we're in the same room. Very awesome.
Yeah, No, I appreciate it, Steve. Thank you for the opportunity. And keep doing what you're doing. I love the podcast. Big fan.
Thank you,
love
sir.
Listening. So
I'm going to keep chugging along, and I'm going to have to squeeze a couple guests out of you later. See what you got.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do for you.
I'm going to do the show intro. Can you hang on for like 2 minutes?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, brother. The great Brad Larsen, ladies and gentlemen. Man, I'm thick-tongued today. I swear I haven't been drinking. Really, really fascinating and fun to hear about another country and how they do things and what's going on with that program. So thank you to Brad for coming on. This is a time in the show where I thank the Patreon sponsors, the people that keep the lights on, they keep the boat afloat. Who I'm talking about, these are the lieutenants. Who I'm talking about is Andy Biggs, the great and powerful Andy Biggs, Kyle Roberts, Michael Roach Machines, AI Solutions, check him out. Now the sergeants, Lane Campbell, Gary Steiner, Adam Mihal, Seth Wright, Lauren Stimson, Jason Lau, Sasha McNabb, Sean Clifford, Tammy Walsh, George Tessier, Dennis Carrasquillo, Scott Young, Dan Carlson from Burley Boards, Doug and Kelly Newman, Raymond Arsenal, Richard Tolles, keep on trucking, brother, Elliot Sykes, Brad Thompson, Clark LaCuff, Adam McMahon, Sheriff Ronald Long, Zachary Pleat, Jason Labrie, Lisa Gano, Sherry Finch, Gabriel Decknup, Eric Smith, Jackson Dalton, Marcus Johansson, Brett Lee, and Alex Wasick. Guys, thank you so much for the support and joining the Patreon. I truly appreciate that. And go check out Sergeant Steve YouTube channel. Almost to 100,000 followers. Super pumped about it. And lastly, I love you guys, and I'll see you next week.